Over the weekend, Justin Bieber released a new project called Changes on Valentine's Day. But then one day, there was already an accusation from an independent artist saying that Justin is jacking his swag. Sherman Rope has a song called Synergy. Justin Bieber on the new project has a song called Running Over. Both songs use the same sample from a royalty-free platform known as Splice. Splice, listen, I appreciate what you do. This is not a paid sponsorship. I'm just saying, as an independent artist myself and producer, I'm grateful that you have a platform for people like me that can go and find super dope samples and use them in our songs, royalty free. Asher goes on Twitter talking all grizzly, saying any and everything. And somehow it just got to the producer that made the sample.
All right, so just to clear up any confusion, this is a project file. I wrote this MIDI, I wrote all the notes, I did all the sound design. I only made the melody that drives the whole track. Both
songs use this same sample. Because it's on a royalty-free platform like Splice, you can use it however way you want. So for the independent artist, that's a super dope thing because you now have access to the same production library that Top 40 Hits do. So just keep that in mind. Like, that's an amazing thing that we have access to. But also, it does bring into question, should artists and producers use royalty-free loops? My answer is absolutely. Why wouldn't you do that? If you have access to millions of sounds that you can put inside of your music, that is amazing. Now, I know there's a lot of producers out there that's like, oh, like if you only use loops, you're not really a producer. I don't care what they gotta say. If you making beats, making it from scratch, sometimes you gotta get pre-made ingredients to make your recipe. Sometimes you don't know how to make the flour. You can't make the sugar. So you got to go to the store and grab it and put it in and make it yours. And there's three things that I learned in this situation I want to kind of encourage you on if you are an artist or producer and you're trying to come up. Number one, understand copyright laws. When it comes to a royalty-free sample, you don't own that sample. You own the derivative or the creation that you produce from that sample. But the sample itself in isolation, you don't own that. In the case of working on Splice, it is a blessing for us because that means that you can take something that a top 40 producer is using, the same sample. Justin Bieber's person can't go to Sherman Rope and say, you need to take your song down because they're just using the same sample from the same royalty-free platform. In the case of license agreements, keep this in mind, that there are some that are royalty-free, Splice, Cymatics, but then there's also master clearance samples packs. Illmind, Dylan Graham and Sample Plug, Frank Dukes require a master clearance in order to use the sample. Hassle-free, one side is royalty-free where you don't have to clear, the other side is hassle-free clearance, which is still super dope. It's better than going to try to sample a Michael Jackson record. You know good and well you can't get that cleared. Number two, originality. If you're gonna use a sample, add something to the sample. So if you listen to Justin Bieber's Running Over, they slowed down the sample. So if you're trying to Shazam the song, you can recognize Justin Bieber's. Now in the case of Sherman Rope, his song can get confused with other artists because they use the sample as it was inside of Splice. So you want to differentiate your song a little bit so that when people find you and you're using a recognizable sample, royalty-free, just make sure that you do something to it, add a filter to it, slow it down, speed it up, do something that would adjust that sound. I know there's a lot of debate online about whether or not you should use royalty-free samples. Oh, everyone's using Splice. Listen, Splice is a cheat code. Cymatics is a cheat code. Sample Plug is a cheat code. You are allowed to use those things to create music that you love. There are certain things about production I don't know. I don't know how to play the guitar. I'm learning the keys. I'm not good at it. So I'm just learning as I go. So until I get my skills up, you better believe I'm using Splice. It's another way for me to collaborate with other producers to make a sound that's super dope. Make the music, put it out there, create it, record it, put it out. Produce more music. If you are an artist, if you are a producer, take the time to believe in what you're doing, but then when you produce it, release it.